What's going on, everybody? This is the blockchain backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. Today, we're going to talk about the Ripple XRP price chart because, well, it's really just kind of been XRP week with how much the prices have moved to the upside over here on the XRP price chart. And, well, what happens when the prices start moving up really high is a lot of excitement, a lot of euphoria, a lot of optimism comes into the market. And I think we could probably say we are in that phase right now with XRP. If we remember what times were like way back in here, well, we bottomed out the day after Coinbase said that they were going to be halting the trading of XRP. Now we're kind of reaching that moment of where there's a lot of optimism that things are going to turn out great during the SEC case. And of course, that's mixed with higher prices as well. So I always want everybody to do well in this market, but I also know like a lot of the mistakes that end up happening. And, during these markets, I'm always talking about how I buy into the fear, I buy into the panic. I get called a dingus all the time because there's a specific time where I'm putting my money into the market. And that's when the market is really scared, when the market is pessimistic, and I'm not buying into green candles. That's just something I don't do. Now, I'm not saying whether or not that's right or that's wrong, or if XRP is in full-blown breakout and we're heading up to, $10 right now. But I wanted to kind of show the history of what has happened with XRP over the last year. And so if anybody new is coming into this market or anybody with extreme optimism right now, they're in extreme greed right now, that they can kind of keep those expectations in check, kind of show the things that have happened in the past over the last year, and that we can just continue to have good expectations moving forward and things aren't a surprise if they do show up. Now, of course, my expectations are that, we're in the start of the XRP bull run. The prices are going to go much higher. Picking a time frame for how long it's going to take out, it's going to be incredibly difficult. And picking out what the volatility is going to look like all the way up there is going to be very difficult as well. My conviction is going to always remain the same. I'm holding on to all-time highs. I'm looking for double-digit prices before I start letting go of any of my XRP. I've been in here for a long time. I will continue to stay in here a long time if I have to in order to get all the way up here. But I also just wanted to show simple little waves that have happened in XRP getting all the way to this time period, and that we can see what waves have looked like, right? And like, what if you were to assume that waves just kind of continued happening like that to get all the way up to here? Let's scoot this over just a little bit. I think that would be incredibly bullish for it to look like that. I think it would be incredibly bullish and for it to take that amount of time to do something like that, even though I'm not forecasting time. These are just squiggly lines I've drawn on here. I think everybody could probably agree with that. But there is a problem here. And that problem is that this type of pullback, say we pulled back all the way down here, it's like a 30% loss. What happens most times is when people come pouring into a market and they get excited, they buy it after the green candle has already happened, and they refuse to buy it when things are in despair because they think it's going to go even lower. That was the case in here, 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 and here. However, every time the price fired up really high, people got really optimistic and wanted to buy it at that time. But let's say we even looked at the chart something like this, and I just drew a line right here through the middle of this. And let's say that it just kind of grew up just like this, and then eventually reached out, just going just like that. That looks like reasonable expectations that something like that could continue like that, right? But the problem is you're looking at 40% losses. So somebody buying in here would be devastated to see a 40% loss. Then they'd be really excited because they'd see a 168% gain, but then they would see another 30% loss. And then what ends up happening? They end up getting stuck right back where they started at. So enough time has elapsed to where they've gone through absolute pain. They've gone through absolute euphoria. Then when they're in pain again, they're no better off than where they were when they started, which is why you hear so much buy the dips, buy into the fear, buy into absolute panic and depression. Now, I'm not saying the wave structure is going to look like that. I actually would expect it. Hopefully, my hopes are that it's going to move up a lot faster than that. My hopes are that we see something more along the lines of maybe heading up a little bit higher, kind of something like we saw back in here, and then we're more so in something like that, heading up a little bit higher. Then it is likely that we have some type of big pullback. Why? Because we saw that right there. And this is a large pullback, right? This is a 60% loss that happened back in here. It would seem likely that on our way up, we have some type of scary moment like that. And that's the cost and the price you have to pay in order to get the ride all the way up to there, if we end up getting it. But why do I warn of these things, right? It's because I'm just showing you what we've had happen every single time. Every single time we have these big rises, people get really excited and then they buy. They make these decisions that, you know what, the price just rose 100%. It's time for me to buy it. But when it was down in here, wasn't not willing to touch it. But the idea is to get in down in places like this in order to take advantage of opportunities like that when they do come along. And I could be coming on here, creating a lot of FOMO, creating a lot of hype, saying, buy it, we're going to keep on flying, let's keep on rocking and rolling. But in the end, I want everybody to do well who watches my channel. And that means that people have to keep their expectations in place. And the people who are going to fail in this market, without a doubt, are the people who keep buying when things are high and then being scared and selling when things are low. They think that this price is going to go lower, so they sell it. They think that this price is going to go higher, so they buy it. So they keep buying tops and they keep selling bottoms because they keep thinking the direction is going to continue. And the thing that I've been doing during the whole bear market, during the whole ride up to get to this moment, is to not buy into big green candles, but buy when things are scary. So if you find yourself accumulating and buying and loading up at $1 XRP, you just have to have that kind of longer time horizon, right? That you're probably going to see some volatility. And every single one of these moments, I mean, you could just see that's 44% right there. If you weren't here during the SEC stuff, 78% losses. How much for that one right there? That's 50% loss right there. How about right here? That's 38% right there. It's not unrealistic to see something like that happen where we have some type of a pullback that's those types of percentages. And anybody who has done well in XRP as a hodler knows that. They know that they've had to go through all of that stuff to get to this moment right here, to get all the way up here, to get to above $1, had to go through some absolutely horrid time periods to get there. And the thing is, these time periods don't last very long. We've talked about this many times before. And so I'm going to zoom out on this really quick just so we can take a peek at it and understand what this really is like from a time preference, because here it just looks like a steady grind upwards, but the reality is it's not. And the people who stay in this asset for a long time know it, that you're usually going sideways or you're going down in this asset until things finally explode. So we can look at this growth that has happened right here in just a couple of days. And since then, a couple of days ago, it hasn't done much, right? This was 3 days of popping to the upside. Right in here, we can see this. This is 4 days of popping to the upside. We'll go ahead and give ourselves this one right down here, which is 2 days. And we'll give ourselves this one over here, which is 4 days. And then why not? We'll give ourselves that one too. But otherwise, looking at the price chart, what occurs most of the time when we aren't having these sudden moves up really high? We're going sideways or we're going down for long periods of time, just like here. Sideways, down, long period of time. Sideways, down, sideways, down. And then you can suddenly see that these moments that happen that pop to the upside, they are not very long in comparison to how long the red periods are, right? We have to suffer through a lot of this stuff in order to eventually get these things. And what continues to happen over and over again is after these explosions happen, you see all the excitement, euphoria, and people piling in over and over again. And they forget the expectations of what has continuously happened over and over again. So while it's hopeful that things just completely fire up, we're in the right phase in Bitcoin cycle for something like that to happen. If you can't have that expectation and that mindset of, well, this is what it's kind of looked like the whole way up, right? Are you going to be able to handle some type of 40% pullback if something like that shows up? Because we've seen it over and over again. But having that longer term time preference has proven to pay off, right? It was not fun and not exciting to be a buyer down here on December 29th, the day after Coinbase announced that they were going to be halting the trading of XRP. But it proved to be the best time to buy it, right? 16, 17 cents. Why? Because things were scary. People were panicking. You could get the best prices out there. Same thing goes with back when the C19 scare happened in March of 2020. Best prices were offered. Market was scared. Right now, we're really optimistic. People think that Ripple's going to beat the SEC, right? I'm not saying that they're not. It looks pretty good for them right now, right? Hey, even if they do, then yeah, I would bet we're going to see some big old candle come out of here. Well, because it's also the time in the market cycle for it to happen. And with how much excitement we have right now, if you guys don't remember this poll by Crypto Bull 2020 less than a month ago on March 11th? Will XRP miss this bull run? And half of people said yes. That was less than a month ago. Notice a big shift in excitement that has happened now. But I always try to keep expectations as grounded as possible, and that it is very exciting to see a dollar on the screen right now. I do expect to see over $10 for XRP, but history has proven over and over again there are big volatile moments to get to that moment. So if you find yourself FOMO buying after the price has already gone up, understand what the history of the price chart has done in the past and that it's a volatile ride to get there. And I'll show you what I'm hoping it ends up looking like to get up there. And, of course, everybody would hope that it just goes in a complete straight line to the upside. But, I'll show you what my hope is and how it does play out is that we do get a kind of a pull up. And now, I don't want it to happen, but I expect it to happen that there's a large knockback before it comes way out of here. That's a huge pullback, right? It's going to be like 60%, but that's nothing new. If you go back through all the videos from way back in the day, we're talking months ago, saying looking for prices to get up to $2, it shows there that my expectations, even back then, 6 months ago, getting to $2 and then a pullback to like 80 cents. So a monstrous pullback would be normal. However, the people who buy at $1.50, buy at $2, they're going to see a lot of volatility there and it's going to scare them to death. But I've come into this with a longer time preference, accumulating all of this down in here, the terror, the horror, and that I have the understanding of the time preference to say I can go through that type of volatility. I've been through worse volatility before because I have my expectations and sights set on the big prize. So and one of the things too now, everybody just wants to hear we're going to have a big moon mission, right? And unfortunately, it's not what I'm going to do. It's not what I ever do on this channel. I try to keep it as ridiculously accurate as I can make it. When I'm optimistic, I'm going to be really optimistic. And right now I am optimistic. I totally think we're going to go to the upside and we're going to go to the upside in a big way. But when the market's moving this fast, when you move up 100% in 2 days, you have pullbacks that are massive, scary pullbacks during that uprising, and we know that to happen. We've seen it happen before, that those big pullbacks do happen. And just not everybody. This market is not made for everybody, and I hope you know that if you're coming into this thing, this market is not for everybody. You have to have steel hands. They call it diamond hands, whatever. That's viral, silly stuff to me. You seriously have to have some steel hands in here because you're going to be tested. You can't just hang out with your buddies in the forums and say, yeah, we're all diamond hands and we have laser eyes. No, you're going to literally get tested. And I'm just issuing those warnings ahead of time that when they come, that, you knew about it ahead of time, that those types of moments where you get tested are going to come. And if you could see me right now, I've got a big old balled up fist right now, as tight as I can, as my steel fist, because you are absolutely going to be challenged in this market. And I hope that if you're not buying into FOMO after the price has gotten to $1, having expectations that we're going to see $10 tomorrow. No, hey, we may see $1.50 tomorrow, and then we may see 80 cents the next day. You don't know when it's this volatile and it's this crazy. In the end, I have complete conviction we're going on our bull run. But boy, you got to be ready to hold on. You got to be ready to stomach it. And if you really want to get on this roller coaster, I'm telling you, it's a wild, wild roller coaster. But it has paid off big time. All those people who are here with this channel, right? Remember all those 17.5 cent buys, all those 22.5 cent buys, buying down here in the depths of despair. All of those are way up in a big way, but it didn't happen overnight, and we did have to go through some really messed up stuff to get there. And given enough time and having a proper time preference, it's been the right decision to make. So for the new people coming in here, the new people FOMOing in at $1, you may have to pay your dues. And believe it or not, people did think I was making moon mission FOMO videos when I was saying we're going to go to $60,000 for Bitcoin, right? That no, man, you're crazy. None of that's ever going to happen. But we ended up having it. So, me talking about going to $10 for XRP, it's what I do expect. It's where I expect the prices to go. But one thing to also understand too is that as we start moving our way up there, we're going to see these same things that happen with Bitcoin, that we see all the laser eyes people come in here buying at these price levels, right? And what are we starting to see already? We're seeing lots of price prediction Twitter posts out there, YouTube videos, everything. They're going to call for higher prices than, what I'm expecting. I'm going to stick to what I've always stuck to. But you have to understand this too. Why would if back in here people thought 50, 60, $70,000 was ludicrous and it's never going to happen, and I'm just shilling a pipe dream that that's ever going to happen, then why did so many people buy it at that price? Why did laser eyes happen right there? Why was it on television when it finally got to those prices? Because people thought the price was still going to continue going significantly higher. And that's what's going to happen on all of these assets. When they finally reach out to their targets, who's going to be the buyers? The buyers are going to be the people who believe that the price will continue to go even higher. So it's no doubt in my mind that once that price gets up into that $10 price region, that price will no longer sound realistic any longer. Things will be so optimistic, so euphoric, and so happy that the blockchain backer has absolutely no idea what he is doing, and the price is clearly going to $150. You get what I'm saying? So I come in here very realistic. My expectation is $10. That's still 10x from where XRP is at right now. It's at $1. I'm expecting it to go to $10, right? People thought that was a ludicrous price prediction to have when the price was 15 cents, when the price was 17 cents for XRP. Now it's at $1. That price is starting to sound not as attractive anymore. People are really starting to want that more of $50 price point. And you better believe it, when we do get to $10, hopefully when we get to $10, the expectations will then be 50, 100, 150. And then, of course, those $10,000 price prediction videos will be incredibly circulated around. But on my channel, I try to always keep things realistic. And so that's why I keep going back to, if you weren't FOMO buying in here or down in here, but now you're FOMO buying up in here, you kind of have things out of order. And if you're going to buy in here with the expectation of $10 or something like that, to have the understanding that look at how the chart has behaved in the past. There's lots of ups, there's lots of downs, and those ups and downs aren't small. Each one of these moves are, this is over 100% move to the upside, right? That's 200%. Same thing goes over here. That's going to be same thing, 200% right here. But remember, after we have these massive, huge rises, there's typically big pullbacks at the same time. So if you're buying after the big pull to the upside, big rise to the upside, be prepared for volatility, and just that, if you're going to stay in here for the long term, well, that's part of this game. And if that's what you're going to do, if you're going to buy and you're going to hold on to dear life and you're going to need someone to, be there with you the whole time, hit that subscribe button, man, because that's what I do. I hold through all of it. I hold through all of this craziness. I accumulate on the dips and in the depths of despair and then in the depression, and I just ride through all of it. I don't sell my bags. I'm not day trading. I'm holding on for dear life. And you know what? It has paid off, but it wasn't easy. So, all right, that'll conclude my pep talk for hodlers and volatility. In the end, it's an exciting time for XRP, right? There's no question about it that it's an exciting time, but it's most likely going to be a very volatile time right now, too. And we know that even heading up, right? Looking at this bull run back in here, even that whole ride up in there, how big were each of these pullbacks, right? There's a 30% pullback in that portion right there. There's another 30% pullback right in there. There's another 30% pullback right in there. So those things happen even when it's essentially moving in a straight line up, right? We take it off that log scale and we look at it like that. It's like, wow, that was really exciting. It was a lot of fun. But there were really big pullbacks that happened in that time frame as well. And you know what? It's likely that we have them in this move up too. It's likely that we have those big scary moments too. And people do buy tops, and then they do sell bottoms, and then they just kind of get wished-washed all over the place. But in the end, it's such an exciting time for the XRP holders, the people who have been in here for an incredibly long time, to finally get through that 3-year resistance. We know how big of a deal that is, especially since this is the rally prior to Bitcoin capitulating in 2018. And that has been so significant for us to get through. And then when this moment back here and the last bull run happened, this back test that we saw in here, do you know what that was? That was a back test of the top of the rally that happened prior to Bitcoin capitulating in 2015. So we've seen this type of stuff before. It would make a lot of sense that we kind of are mirroring something similar to that right now, in that, well, a back test of the Bitcoin capitulation rally right in here. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. Are we going to go higher before we have that scary moment? Are we going to establish the support on top of here right now? We'll just have to wait and see. Otherwise, it's exciting to be a hodler at this point. Don't lose sight of the big picture. The big picture is sheer excitement for sure. But all right, that's going to wrap it up for this one. I think it's always important that I issue some type of warning after we have a very large rise. Of course, I'm sitting back here being a cheerleader saying, let's go, rise, rise, rise. And you know what? Part of me wants to come on here and say, yeah, come on, this is exciting. Let's make YouTube videos. Let's be super excited and super pumped. And that's what I would love to do. But I've always just tried to be like this super straight arrow, like, realistic expectations type of YouTube channel. And part of it is that the price just rose really high. Of course, we can hoot and holler and be cheerleaders for it to keep smashing through and heading to the upside. But at this point, after a large rise, that's when I start issuing those cautions of, look, pullbacks can happen, right? You know me, when the prices are low, I get really bullish. I'm the dingus. Why? No, you're so wrong. It's going to go much lower. And then as prices rise, I start to kind of issue out those cautions. This is kind of what I always do. I always seem like I'm on the opposite side of what the sentiment is, right? Sentiment's really excited. I'm issuing cautions. Sentiment is really in the gutter. I'm being really bullish. It's kind of the opposite all the time, right? So right now I am excited because we've broken above the rally prior to capitulating back in 2018. That is super ridiculously exciting. However, we might have to do some support building on top of there. Even if we break up higher, we may still have to come back down and do some support building on top of that in that 70 to 80 cent price range. So we keep the expectations that it's that, and hopefully we get surprised and it doesn't even happen and it does just fire to the upside. But the worst thing is, and everybody knows this, the worst thing is that when the prices fall and you didn't expect it at all, that's when you start kind of getting a little uncomfortable. So, all right, issuing that. Otherwise, conviction remains the same. I think we're in the bull run. It just might take a little while. And by the time we get to those $10 to $13 price targets, I can't wait for it. I cannot wait to get called the dingus who doesn't know what he's doing, because I'm already starting to see it over there on Twitter being like, blockchain backer, you need to represent yourself and provide further concrete data on why you think $10 to $13 is appropriate, because everywhere is saying 25, 50, 100, 150, 250, 10,000. Blockchain backer, you need to validate why you say 10 to 13. It's like, okay. I've done enough validating on why I think that's the price level. I talk about it in detail over here on bcbacker.com. I talk about it in detail on my YouTube channel probably 100 times. But that's because I have a plan before I go into all of this stuff, right? I don't get swayed by whatever the emotional shift is in the market. I just stick to exactly what my plan is. And that way I don't even have to think about anything when the time comes. I just execute my plan. So, all right. Enough. We're rambling. It's Friday. This thing's like 25 minutes long. I hope that you guys have a fantastic weekend. Of course, throughout the weekend, if you'd like, you could check out my website over here. It's bcbacker.com. I have a lot of videos on here. This is my course where I deep dive into the previous Bitcoin bull runs, those different altcoin seasons, those altcoin market cycles where things get really excited, tying those things together to show how those alt seasons occurred within Bitcoin cycles. I talk about my personal exit plans in here, and I talk about rebalancing, percentages, mathematics, all kinds of educational content in here, along with adding that update that I included there last week that is available for anybody who's already enrolled in the course, and for anybody who does sign up for the course, there is a March 31st update right in there, and you can check this out over here on bcbacker.com. You can follow me over here on Twitter at bcbacker. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching my channel. If you could, please give this video a thumbs up. Please like this video. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I create new content and when I go live. As always, this is not investment advice and I am not a financial advisor. But if you ever need a pick-me-up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.